Welcome, everyone, to Hit the Books. I'm Thomas Casale with the man, the myth, the legend, Joey Knish. Knish, how's it going? I'm here. How do you like my new hat, baby? Cheer, cheer for old Notre Dame. How's it going, buddy?
The red hot Tommy Casale. The guy can't miss the first 2 weeks here. And I tell you, I won't be walking near a church for a while after last weekend. But Jesus, no, it was a nice week for you. I gotta give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Notre Dame game, never in doubt. I went 4-1 last week. My only loser was your overrated Michigan team, laying the 17. But we said it on the show, first test. Notre Dame, though, start to finish, domination. And Knish, when I was watching that game, patting myself on the back, I was thinking, you had mentioned the Nebraska defense might be all-time bad. Boy, this North Carolina defense might be all-time bad. They can't stop anybody.
Yeah, I don't think – I mean, there wasn't anything special. That it was basically Notre Dame lined up, ran the football, and North Carolina couldn't do anything about it. You could see her. I knew early in that game they were in trouble when they were just getting off chunk run after chunk run, and Gene Chizik may be the worst coordinator hire in the history of college football for what he's done this year to that North Carolina defense. And after a bye, no adjustments, nothing ready to go. I mean, it wasn't anything special. It was just straight up good old man ball, baby. And that they just totally kicked their ass. So hey, I got to give credit where credit is due. It was a beatdown.
Yeah, I mean, listen, how good is Cam Newton to give that guy a national championship? I talk about a special college football player because he stinks. He stunk at Auburn. He stinks at North Carolina, like you said. So I'm 7-3 through the first 2 weeks, Knish. I got a little cushion here. This is going to be an interesting week because I got some good numbers, I think, but I don't think you're going to like the picks because I think this is going to be blowout Saturday. I think there's some teams and spots where they're going to bounce back. So I'm going to be laying a lot of points here. So I'm going to be interested to see what you think about these picks. I felt good. I was going 5-0 last week. This week, I want to hear your thoughts on the picks, though, and see what you think about laying these kind of points.
I mean, I'd like to say I'm rooting for you, but after the Notre Dame little hat trick here, I don't think so. And it's called a very stylish lighting arrangement, Mr. Robinson. There, that little ambiance for you. So hey, it's a beautiful piece of lighting wear.
Well, and listen, Hit the Books is presented by the Hammer Betting Network, Knish. You can check out all the great content at thehammer.bet and on the social media platforms at the Hammer HQ. Now, I take it you are consuming the content because you're on every time I look up, you're on a different show here.
Well, I mean, what's not to consume, baby? At the Hammer, it just never stops with the good stuff coming on there. So, yeah, I know. Barretto's got me working. I'm going to tell you, I'm waiting for the check to clear, baby, with all the stuff I'm having to do for this. So, yeah, no, it's, hey, I'm enjoying some of the live stuff. I am begrudgingly enjoying some of the live stuff with the Pizza Man on the weekend is good, too. So, yeah, and the college football stuff, hey, we've got, it's been fun.
Good. Well, hey, let's get to the picks. Let me get this darn hat off because it's cutting the circulation off my head.
I hope it does.
That was a good $25 investment for a 5-second laugh. But let's get into this week's games, Knish. Okay, the bet I put in first this week, and I think they're in a great spot, is the Georgia Bulldogs minus 26.5. Now that number is ticked up a little bit. See, I love taking a team like Georgia who struggles with a Kent State squad. I mean, imagine the practices Kirby had this week after what they put forth on the field last week. And I like that it's a mid-tier conference game. Like if this was Central Michigan and they were laying 46 points, I'm not going to take it. But I think Missouri's a dead body. They just haven't discovered it yet. I think the coach is over his head here. I think Georgia's going to dominate in the trenches. I think they win this game by 50. What do you think about this game?
No, I like that. I played some of that as well on open there. I know, unfortunately for the viewers, it's crossed over the 28 threshold mostly.
Yeah.
I totally agree with what you're saying on the spot and the comeback here for Georgia and being totally out, man. To add on to that, the Missouri injury report was brutal. Mm-hmm. They had it was multiple key contributors there on a team that doesn't have a lot of talent to begin with. And what Missouri wants to, they're a team that is almost like the SEC Kansas State, where they just a running quarterback. They want to run. Like if they can't get the run going, which I don't think they'll be able to do against this Georgia defense, their offense is kind of dead in the water there. So, honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if this ticked up, to 30.5, maybe some buyback at 31, but I don't see a lot of resistance. I can't make a great devil's advocate case here for Missouri because I think the matchup is bad, the spot is bad, the injuries are bad. They don't have the type of passing offense to even get you in a back door or any of that. If they're not able to run, then it's curtains for them in this one. And I agree, Georgia in a nice spot here to bounce back and probably blow the doors off a totally outmanned Missouri team.
Now, you did mention a good point, though, about the number going up over 28. Now, listen, the bottom line is like I put this in the second it came out, right, because I was waiting for it. But that's not how a lot of people bet, right? They're going to bet maybe Friday, Saturday morning. So where do you stop on this game? Is it 28? Is it below 28? Where's the number where you say, nah, it's not worth it anymore?
Yeah, 28 was definitely the point where I was looking, there was I'll leave in some of the look ads for 28.5, and then I agree. As soon as it opened up under, I was even fine. There was 25.5, 26, 26.5, 27. Really would have been fine with it up to a full 28. Now that it's almost, the board's painted pretty much 28.5, 29. It's kind of in a note. But if I still had to play it, I think it would still be a Georgia position. But even the first half, I was looking for some 16.5. That's all crossed over now. It's 17.5. So for the most part, it would be a pass for me where it's at now. And I think you just gotta have the discipline. There's a ton of games on the board. No reason to chase a number now. It's gone through a key.
Okay, so you like my Georgia pick. I don't know if you're gonna like this next one. It's another SEC team laying points on the road. Listen, I told you when we first started this show, I'm not a pro bettor. I'm not a public bettor. I'm somewhere in the middle. But I will say this. It's rare that I'm laying these kind of points in one day. So we'll see how it works out. But I got Alabama minus the 14.5 on the opener. This is up to 17 now. I know the line has moved my way, but I feel like the smart people are going to be on Arkansas here. I just feel like Alabama had their close game on the road. Saban does a good job of using those games to really help the team get better. Arkansas 126th against the pass with Bryce Young coming in, threw for 559 and 5 touchdowns last year. Now, last year it was 42-35. I think Arkansas is going to have to score in that 30-point range again to cover. I don't know if they do. I laid just over 2 touchdowns, Knish. What do you see in this one?
Yeah, obviously you got a good number there on it. It's a brutal. Arkansas is just in a spot where they've had a brutal early schedule. They've had a lot of injuries on the back end. I don't think they match up particularly well. But they've been able to play up in a lot of these, understand Pittman and play up in a lot of these spots. And it hasn't been an extremely impressive Alabama team when they haven't been playing the absolute dregs. They probably should have lost outright to Texas.
Yeah.
They've been able to beat up on Utah State there, and Vandy, but I mean that's the poverty, the low of the low here. Arkansas kind of falls a little bit in between but I'm not. This one's kind of in a range where I'm not. I haven't been at a it was more of an avoid game. I mean, you got a good number there. So if you're sitting on the 14.5, that's fine. I wasn't inclined to really buy Arkansas I saw 18 pop for a bit at Circa from 17.5. There was nothing that was, getting. I just was taking the stance. I didn't want to have an Arkansas position in this game. It's at the number where it's at. It's the only side that you could kind of play at the number, but it's a pass for me on Arkansas. And with Alabama, I think you're paying a premium now at the 17.5. That's kind of steamed up all week. So no look for me on this one. It wouldn't surprise me to see Bama kind of control this one, and be able to get something of 42-20, something like that. I guess it depends a little bit on what Arkansas's offense can really be able to put together on a Bama defense that I think is very good, because hasn't been a super explosive Alabama offense. They don't have the same playmakers at wide receiver. So I just, between, as you said, some of the injuries that Arkansas has and like how the schedule they've had, it's just a pass for me. If they were healthier, different situation, you'd get me on some 17 there, but I got to leave this one alone the way it's shaped out.
Yeah, and you mentioned the receivers. This is going to be an interesting game for me because we saw that against Texas, right? It was like, hey, where's the good receivers? Oh, they're all in the NFL. So it's been a few games now. These guys got to start stepping up. And if Arkansas can kind of do what Texas did, then I'm going to start to have some worries about Alabama. Will you, or is it just going to be, can they beat Georgia or not?
I mean, they're in that, I guess, the early edict was like, man, they could be a touchdown better than any team in college football, including Ohio State and Georgia, and they should be. That's kind of come back down to now. I think you've seen it where it's really those three are within a point or two of each other, of Georgia, Ohio State, kind of a coin flip of they're on that same tier as the next two instead of significantly above them. And I would say probably a step behind them offensively. I mean, I love Bryce Young, but their offensive line's had some issues. They don't have the same level of playmakers. I still think their defense is elite, but they're no longer that for a minute there, it was like, okay, this team could be the best team we've seen in the last few years, the best version of them, touchdown better than any of those. That's kind of all out the window. And now, they're one of three teams that's going to win the national title, but I don't think they're really like, a significant favorite or anything that anymore. It would be easily to see, Georgia or Ohio State being, comparable to them on any type of playoff game.
Okay. Well, so I've laid 41 points in the first two games. I can see the dust from the chalk letting up over here. Yeah, we ain't going to have any dogs barking in the Casale house on Saturday. I can promise you that. So the beat goes on here, Knish. Another team I think is in a great spot. USC, I took a minus 14.5 for the first half. Last week I was on Oregon State plus the points. That was one of my winners. I also off-show had them on the money line. Hey, 14-10. They had the lead with 4 minutes to go. They got to win that game, right? If you're Oregon State, you got to win a game where USC scores 17 points. They couldn't hold them. USC, awful game offensively. Now, the Beavers have speed on defense. They play aggressively. I think that speed caught USC a little bit by surprise. Arizona State has nothing. They don't have speed. They don't have a head coach. They're kind of a corpse right now. I think USC comes out fast. They jump on them. I decided to take the first half because I don't trust USC's defense like we saw against Stanford, maybe late in the game, letting a team get back in and cover that 25. What do you think about this play?
You know what? I saw that first half line, and I got to admit, I would be more inclined. I do have a play in Arizona State in this game, but it was full game. I'm not, as you said, some of the factors there, I like it better for the full game than the first half. My issue, and again, could Arizona State be in this Nebraska realm of they're just dead, where they look at like it's like they're not gonna basically put any effort. They're gonna get a career. The market's not gonna catch up to how bad they are. Theoretically possible, but you know what? It's an air. I read some things that I liked from out of the new Arizona State coach Rulo that the team was kind of buying in. I liked the fact that they're the best thing they can do is have a run based offense where Xavier Holiday, Emory Jones that should be able to match up pretty well versus USC. And I thought the line was really paying a premium to back USC and fade Arizona State there. That it was just one of those where you were really gonna. This is a game that 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, you would have thought this was like 14, and now it's up. Hit the 26 point. There's been a little bit of buyback. But for my end of it, I like Arizona State's it's tricked down a little bit. So I got a smaller play on Arizona State at 26 again, but I wouldn't challenge your first half there. The first half would be a no play for me. But again, it's not I would love to make a stronger case there in terms of the fade, but there's always that element that Arizona State could just be done. I just thought the number was a little bit inflated. The matchup was okay, so took a little bite of the cherry there.
Well, let me ask you this, because I have another play in this game. It's not going to count here on this show because the line has moved so much, but I hit 57.5 over on the opener. That's up like 60 and a half now. Do you think the way you're saying it sounds like you think Arizona State can move the ball and score some points. What do you think of that play just as a kind of a bonus analysis here?
Yeah, that'd be the way. USC, again, they kind of ran into a blender last weekend against Arizona State. Against Oregon State's defense. I don't think they'll have those. Arizona State's been getting mashed on by Eastern Michigan in that. So it would surprise me not to see USC at least get into the mid to high 30s here, if not the 40s. And again, their defense it's going to give up some plays. It's going to give up some points. So yeah, this is one that as long as Arizona State can hold their end of the bargain, that I don't think you should have a problem yet hitting that number.
Okay, so there's the first three. More points coming here. So Knish, I always give out 5 picks. There's always one I don't love by the time we get to the show. This one might be it. I see the number. I don't have the good number on this one. I know that. I took Coastal.
Well, it didn't cause you an issue last week with your Golden Domer. So
right. So I'm hoping history repeats itself here. But I took Coastal Carolina -10 at home against the Georgia Southern team, coached by Clay Helton. I think Coastal Carolina is still a team at home that pounds people. Clay Helton, I know they've done well, 3-1. But he's still got a lot of new faces there. I think they're going to have a tough time. But I did see that number has gone the other way, and I got a feeling the smart guys are against me on this one.
So what I would tell you is in the early look on it, when this game was supposed to be played in worse weather, that would have matched up been a much better matchup for Coastal, where they're a team that can function a lot better on the ground. Georgia Southern kind of totally they've changed from the triple option to this new air raid based, throw it all around the park. So I think and this is one, it's still though, I think the conditions won't be perfect. There's still going to be some wind, but they moved it to where I think the game changed from like 4:30 to 7, where you were looking at some 20 to 30 mile per hour winds that now should be more like a 5 to 10, maybe a gust of 15. So I think you just got a little bit of the weather angle there that you saw this total drop down from the high 60s to the low 60s. Now it's back up a bit. So we'll see. Again, and all this can change on a whim there. But for the current state of it, I think it was just a weather adjustment where one team is significantly better, running the ball and controlling it, which would be Coastal. I still didn't, I wasn't a buyer on Georgia Southern in this game. it still is a little bit of a hesitancy for me in terms of like they're going to have to. They don't have a great defense. They're going to have to throw it around the park to keep up here. Coastal has played a bit better than I thought they kind of would. I thought they'd have a little bit more of a come down this year. They've been able to kind of maintain. I guess a higher level than I thought. And so with the conditions, it's kind of in this dead zone for me at the 9.5. So I don't hate, where you're at there. I know you're just a half point underwater on the side. But I wish I'd love to challenge you more on this one, but I still think I'm a little weary of Georgia Southern's offense, and kind of what they're going into here. So we'll have to see who I've got. But if it's one of those where it's going to be any type of rain or wind picks up in that, then they're really going to struggle to move the football.
Yeah, but you bring up a good point about the weather, and I want to get your thoughts on this one. Like I was the only guy on earth apparently who didn't know that the hurricane of the decade was coming. So I put this bet in not realizing that weather would be an issue. Now for those games now, I don't want to touch any of them. How do you look at these games where weather is going to be an issue? Are those games where people like you can find a big edge, or is it more of a stay away because of the variables?
I'd say, it used to be years ago before people were all over this stuff that, you could kind of wait and, kind of monitor and take a position. Now you just have to go, if like some type of storm system like this major storm system is coming, the unders are going to get blanket steamed early in the week, super early in the week. So you saw it where every game in Florida and Carolina got beat down anywhere from 6 to 12 points. So your only shot there, if you want to play unders, is to take positions earlier in the week. Then it becomes a forecaster game where you're having to monitor conditions. You got to stay. If you're one of those that casual, doesn't watch the screen a lot, doesn't want to monitor, then they're probably not for you, because that's one where the forecast changed so much. You can get caught on a bad number pretty well. So I would say it's going to steam down, and you saw it once one or two games started steaming early in the week. Then the domino effect, where then it's like, okay, boom, 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 they all win. And then once you have that under position, you can kind of wait to see and trade it later in the week. I didn't take. I took a couple of small positions early, but nothing significant. And then I've just been trying to monitor, where some games were going to go. However, there wasn't a ton of, significant buyback overs that I was looking to plan. It looks like the weather in the Carolinas. A couple of games in Florida got canceled. So those games are out. A couple of games in the Carolinas look like they're going to be a little better than were to be projected. So the only one I had on the radar was Duke UVA. But it was one of those that's kind of, stayed in that same, low 50 zone. So I don't have anything. I probably on the North Carolina and the Duke and Virginia games lean over where it's at now. But for the most part, I've kind of sat out the weather stuff. I'm just not wanting to get caught with my pants down on a couple of positions.
So you're saying when my casual bettor friends who bet on Saturdays text me tomorrow and say, "Hey, shouldn't we bet the under in the Florida State Wake Forest game? That's on TV. I want to bet it." You're saying tell them no. You've already missed the good price on that.
Yeah, you're about 6 days too late.
Okay, all right, that's good to know. All right, so Knish, I'm really interested in getting your thoughts on my fifth and final game here. Not only the game, because I think it's a good one, but how I bet it and what your thoughts are on it. So I took Baylor on the money line minus 125. The line's -2. Anything when it's 2 or less, if I can get 125 or around there, I usually go on the money line. So I want to get your thought. I think Baylor. I think Oklahoma State might be a little fraudulent. I think Baylor should have won at BYU. They got conservative there late in the game for no reason. I still like their defensive front on how they match up with some of these teams in the Big 12. So playing at home, minus 125, I took them on the money line.
This is one that I played. So, when we were talking on the Monday show, I gave out Oklahoma State when there was some threes around. But now that's kind of come down there where, I liked taking the points as the best angle there in this game in the Oklahoma State. But now it's kind of sitting, trading mostly around 2.5. And I guess it depends on if Oklahoma State, they've had a super easy early schedule. It looks like, again, Spencer Sanders has been fantastic. The offense looks electric. Baylor, the issue for me when they're laying plays, they have such kind of an email like Dave Aranda loves the ground and pound. He wants to play bully ball and that. I think some of their performances, especially against what I saw at BYU last night, are a little less impressive than I thought they'd be. But it'd be one where I needed that 3 to buy in Oklahoma State. I agree with if you're going to play Baylor to be finding the cheapest money line as opposed to laying that 2 or 2.5. Because I think just stylistically, the way they play on offense, Aranda has had Oklahoma State's number in that. But I think this is the best offense they've had. And in what could be, should be a tight game. I took the points there, but again, if you're going to play, it's a numbers game there. I liked it because I was able to grab some 3 at 2.5 and be in that dead zone. And I agree with you. If you're going to play on Baylor, that it'd be just grab a cheap money line.
So this sounds to me like you're saying this game is going to be tied with a minute to go, and I'm going to be agonizing all 4 quarters.
Might be right.
I should have just picked another game
conversion instead of a field goal there. So Joey K can rest easy.
So you don't mind, like, because I know some people say don't lay the juice on the 125, right? Because you over 100,000 bets you're going to come out on the short end, but you don't mind taking a money line at 125 or lower.
I think it really depends on the matchup, the total, a number of different things of whether it's better to invest, especially in when I say these Illinois Wisconsin game or an Iowa, especially more so in the games where I think they're going to be close, the totals are lower. Then you get some. Be one where I think the value is significantly higher in taking the money line there, and you can price it out. This is one though that again I think it'll be close. Points a little bit at a premium. I liked the under more so as a play, kind of in itself there. So yeah, it's just a spot where I liked the Oklahoma State play. With the points a little better, and so if you're trading on a Baylor, then the cheap money line, is the way I'd go about it, but. It's one of those where that the 3 had to be the buy spot for me. So again, I can't fault you there for being a little money line centric.
All right, so those are my 5 plays. I'm laying it this week. I got Georgia 26.5. I got Alabama 14.5. I got USC 14.5 first half line. I got Coastal Carolina laying 10, and then I got the Baylor money line. So we'll see how it goes. I think just to me, I think this is going to be one of these Saturdays where a lot of these games are decided early. There's not much interest in them. But, Knish, every week I ask you, give me a game under the radar. Now, for the first time I asked you, you gave me Maryland against SMU winner. Last week you gave us a laugher. You took Minnesota over Michigan State. Which was never in doubt. Is there a game this week that's kind of off the beaten path that you're seeing a lot of action on that some people might not know about?
The guy, I'll touch. I saw the guy in the chat ask about Bowling Green or South Alabama on one. If you have a stale Bowling Green, and Brad mentioned this on Monday's show that their star quarterback Mike McDonald should be back. So that's one I liked a lot when it was under a touchdown. Now that it's crossed over, I think the best number you can get is 8. I really needed 6.5 or 7 to play that one. But if you're doing one of those contests or anything, has got some stale numbers, I would go Bowling Green. Much stronger there than South Alabama. As I think, don't get me wrong, I love the boys in Mobile more than anybody on earth. However, this should be a game where there's actually probably even though I thought there was some value fading them last week, there'd probably be a little more value on Lafayette where it's at currently. One under the radar that I like tonight, I'll get a little Friday night special here, is I think a team that I've liked this year has been UNLV. We've backed them a few times. I think though, now you're getting to the point where we're paying a bit of a premium. I played some New Mexico 14.5. I know there's some numbers that were 16.5, 17 early in the week. I would still be okay 14 here. So game tonight at 11 Eastern. if you can catch 14 in a hook, it looks like a smattering of them still out there. I like that. Both these two teams kind of want to do the same. They have very similar styles in terms of how they play, how they want to attack. Both very, rush-based offenses. Obviously, UNLV having a better year, look to be potentially a Mountain West contender, but New Mexico's improved definitely. I think this is kind of a what I would say not in an exact frame, but when triple option teams go up against each other, usually the defenses are kind of able to elevate themselves a little bit more because you're playing against the same system that you see in practice every day. These two teams kind of run schematically, pretty similar type offenses. Both want to stay on the ground, so I think New Mexico will have a little bit better success defensively. And, you saw them, they got beat up front against Boise. UNLV doesn't have that type of defensive front. So it's a lower total, 44 here. I like getting the 2 touchdowns, especially 14 and a half if you can grab that.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that because I was looking at that game thinking, what am I missing here? What now all of a sudden UNLV is a 16-point favorite over people. I don't know if we're ready for that yet. I understand they're improved, but yeah, that's a good look because it feels like now, like you said, and just quickly before we check out here, I want to get you to maybe elaborate on this a little more. You said UNLV was a team we liked entering into the season, and now it's gone the other way, right? Where there's too much respect for it. Now that's key, right? Don't fall in love with teams so much that you're not willing to go the other way, because at some point the market's going to adjust, even if you were right on a team, and then there's value on the team they're playing, and this is a good example of that. Correct?
No, for sure. It's one where I took some UNLV futures, some UNLV preseason. I thought they were a team that had an outside shot. I've actually added to that position since the season started because the Mountain West is so fucking terrible. That I think even though they're not by any means a great team, it's like everybody in the Mountain West is down. The Hainer injury and that. So don't get me wrong. I still think they're very live in the conference and a team on the come up. But then you get some covers. They probably shouldn't. If I had a UNLV position last week. You got to be objective. They got outplayed by Utah State. Not one that they really should have covered, but got that one. Now coming into a game where it's a lower total, the line market's probably especially early was giving them too much respect. I think this is one where you're getting a bit of a premium now on the UNLV team that is improved, is good. Little line a little too high. I think the matchup and can favor. That New Mexico a little bit, and one that I don't even know. Not saying New Mexico live dog outright or anything like that. I just think getting 2 TDs, especially if you get 14 in the hook, a little bit of value there on a Friday night.
Okay, so I'm going to come when we're done with this show. I'm going to go get that bad number of 14, and I missed a good one, but I that was where I was leaning. So now that you have gone in on it too, I'm going to grab the 2 touchdowns with New Mexico on Friday night, and don't forget to subscribe to the Hammer NCAA Football on YouTube and Twitch. Turn on the notifications so you get notified whenever something new comes on. And the next edition of Hit the Books, Knish, I know you have an interest in this because you will be on it Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern time with you and Brad Powers, breaking down all the games, looking at the early lines. I don't miss that. I always try to think. I watch it for the content, but I also want to watch to see if there's going to be a game. That's how I knew, boy, you're going to come at me last week on that Notre Dame, North Carolina. It's a great show. It's great to get that early stuff early in the week. You guys do a great job there, so make sure to check that out.
Got a few heads-to-heads this week with Brad, so I might, if they go poorly, you might not see me Monday.
But
I'm lucky I showed up today after the UNC game.
Well, listen, Knish, so the good news is I'm hitting 70%, so I'm on par or a little bit below everybody on my Twitter timeline, because apparently everybody who bets, it's hard to believe they're opening sports books anymore. I mean, Jesus, everybody's hitting 70, 75, 80%. This betting stuff's easy, right?
Oh, if you listen to certain people out there, I don't know why we're not having a yacht out there, but no, I agree. You've been it's been a nice start for Mr. Casale. I got to give credit where credit's due, so hopefully keep it up. 4-1 with USC as a loser.
All right. Well, so yeah, last time my 5 picks, Georgia 26.5, Alabama 14.5, USC 14.5 on the first half, Coastal Carolina -10, and then I got the Baylor money line 125, and Joey Knish giving you a Friday night special. Take the New Mexico Lobos plus the 14 points against UNLV. Well, Knish, as always, it's been a pleasure. I wish you the best of luck on your bets. We got good time of year, right? We got playoff baseball coming, we got college football, and we got it all going on. So we will see you next Friday night on Hit the Books. For Thomas Casale, Joey Knish, good luck this weekend.
You too, brother.